The distress beacon had been silent for 3 cycles before Kalen's scout ship picked it up. Most salvagers would have ignored such an old signal, especially one originating from the quarantine sector where the Vrex predator clans made their territorial claims. But Kalen had never been like most salvagers. She had a reputation for finding survivors where others found only corpses. The wreckage spread across the asteroid field like scattered bones. What remained of the Vrex clan ship was barely recognizable, its hull torn open by what looked like weapons fire. Kalen maneuvered her small vessel carefully through the debris, scanning for life signs. The readings came back weak but present. Someone had survived. The airlock hissed as Kalen cycled through into the damaged ship. Emergency lights flickered in the corridors, casting everything in a red glow that made the claw marks on the walls look fresh with blood. She moved quickly, following her scanner toward the life signs concentrated in what her ship's database identified as a nursery chamber. The door had been sealed from the inside. Kalen could see the manual override had been destroyed deliberately, as if someone wanted to make sure nothing could get in. Or perhaps, she realized as she began cutting through with her plasma torch, nothing could get out. The smell hit her first when the door opened. It was the thick musk of Vrex predators, mixed with something else. Fear. The emergency lights inside the nursery revealed 6 small forms huddled in the corner. Cubs. Vrex cubs, barely old enough to have grown their first hunting claws. And in front of them, slumped against the wall with her arms spread wide in a final protective gesture, was an adult female Vrex. Their Alpha. Kalen's scanner confirmed what her eyes already told her. The Alpha was dead, had been for at least 2 cycles. The cubs remained perfectly still, watching Kalen with luminous yellow eyes that reflected the emergency lights like small moons. They did not growl or bare their teeth. They simply stared with an emptiness that Kalen recognized. She had seen it before in orphan younglings of a dozen different species. The largest cub, barely reaching Kalen's waist, stepped forward slightly. His fur was darker than the others, almost black with silver markings that indicated clan leadership bloodlines. His lips pulled back, but not in aggression. His small fangs chattered together in what Kalen's translator identified as a distress call. "I know," Kalen said softly, kneeling down to make herself less threatening. "I know you're scared." The cub tilted his head at her voice. Behind him, the others remained motionless. Kalen noticed something else then. Scattered around the chamber were sealed nutrition packs, the kind designed for growing Vrex cubs. None had been opened. Not one. She pulled out her medical scanner and swept it across the group. The readings made her heart sink. All 6 cubs were severely malnourished, their energy levels dangerously low. They had not eaten since their alpha fell. This was not unheard of in pack predator species, but Kalen had never seen it this extreme. Vrex cubs could survive a long time without food, their metabolism slowing to conserve energy, but they could not survive forever. "Why won't you eat?" Kalen asked, though she knew they could not answer in any language her translator would understand. The dark-furred cub moved closer, his steps careful and measured. He stopped just out of reach and made a low keening sound. Then he looked back at the dead alpha, then at the nutrition packs, then at Kalen. The meaning was clear even without words. The alpha had always fed them first. She had opened the packs, tested the food, ensured it was safe before allowing them to eat. Without her, the ritual was broken. Without her, they did not know how to continue. Kalen felt something tighten in her chest. She had seen grief in many forms across the galaxy, but this was different. This was faith. These cubs believed so completely in their alpha's role that they would rather starve than break the pattern she had established. "Okay," Kalen said quietly. She reached into her emergency supply pack and pulled out one of her own ration bars. Standard human food, compressed nutrition designed to sustain a person for half a cycle. She only had 8 bars left, meant to last her until she reached the next station. The cubs watched as Kalen unwrapped the bar. She made sure they could see every movement, made it deliberate and clear. Then she broke off a piece and ate it herself. The dark cub's ears perked forward. Kalen waited a moment, then broke off another piece and held it out to him. The cub did not move. His eyes darted from the food to Kalen's face to the dead alpha and back again. Kalen could see the conflict in his small body, the trembling that spoke of hunger warring with instinct and loss. "It's okay," Kalen said. She set the piece down on the floor between them, and slowly moved back. "You're the leader now. You have to eat first." For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the dark cub stepped forward, lowered his head, and sniffed at the ration bar. His tongue flicked out, tasting it cautiously. The flavor must have been strange to him, nothing like Vrek's food, but hunger overcame hesitation. He ate the piece in 2 quick bites. Kalen broke off another piece and held it out. This time, the cub came closer. He took it directly from her hand, his small fangs careful not to touch her skin. Behind him, the other cubs began to stir, drawn by the sight of their leader eating point one by one. Kalen fed them pieces of her ration bar. When the first bar was gone, she opened a second. The cubs pressed closer now, their fear gradually giving way to the basic need for survival. The dark cub stayed nearest to Kalen, positioning himself between her and the others in a gesture that spoke of protection and trust in equal measure. By the time the third ration bar was distributed, the cubs had begun to make soft chirping sounds. It was not quite purring, but Kalen's translator identified it as a comfort vocalization. Young Vrex made this sound when they felt safe. Kalen looked at her remaining rations. 5 bars left. The nearest station was 4 cycles away, maybe 5 if she encountered problems. She would be hungry, possibly dangerously so by the end. But as she watched the cubs huddle together, their small bodies finally relaxing from the rigid tension of grief and fear, she knew there was no other choice. She opened the 4th bar and began breaking it into pieces. The dark cub, who she had started to think of as Vash based on the markings that indicated his bloodline name, climbed into her lap. His weight was slight, his body still weak from days without food. But his claws kneaded carefully at her jacket in the same gesture of contentment she had seen in 100 different species. Universal across the galaxy, the movement of a child seeking comfort. Kalen wrapped one arm around him and continued distributing food with the other hand. Around them, the ruined ship creaked and groaned, but the nursery chamber had become an island of fragile peace. An island where a human had chosen hunger for herself so that 6 predator cubs might remember how to eat again.